Oh, mic drop, literally. Fix this. So, where are we now? Take two. Oh, a bit of a floppy mic. There. So, this module is about understanding, recognizing, paying homage to the mysterious truth. This mysterious truth that is going to be really difficult to digest, perhaps, and confronting and challenging, and doesn't necessarily fit into the paradigm of logic or rationality or what you've been told or what is deemed scientifically possible. But we need to expand our horizon into a dimension of quantum awareness, whereby time and space don't exist. Thereby, everything I've just told you about the lines, the genetics, the ancestry, the history, going back, only exists in one paradigm. When we start going into quantum levels of awareness, quantum levels of embodiment, what do we experience? Consciousness experiencing itself. Oh, what? What I mean by that is your ancestors are no longer your ancestors. They are not separate from you, and you're not separate from them. And what I mean by that is when you start working in this quantum field of pure consciousness itself, you cannot personify anything because everything is simply vibration. What I mean by that is that actually, at the deepest level, you are your ancestors and your ancestors are you. There is no separation. Why is there no separation? Because the only reason why you think your ancestors are something separate from you is because of the physical material plane. That physical and material plane is one dimension of consciousness. Actually, you are your ancestors. It's all woven in. So the consciousness of your ancestry, you've already experienced. You are experiencing. And this is why ancestral healing is relevant for you now on your journey here today, because it's alive. If it wasn't alive, there wouldn't be a point in doing ancestral healing. The whole reason why you need to do the ancestral healing work is because it's alive. What does that mean? It means in your consciousness, these imprints are available. This wisdom is available. This benevolence is available. It's all available. And when you bring yourself into this unified perspective, right? And it is possible to feel this as well. I have personally felt this and been like, oh, wow, I'm really old. And, you know, it came with a lot of pain that I had to process of why I had chosen to behave in certain ways, why I had chosen to go through certain experiences, why I had chosen to be ignorant in certain ways. And it also came with a lot of love and a lot of empowerment and a lot of peace, because embodying this quantum field of ancestral alchemy, whereby actually you are your ancestors and your ancestors are you, this allows you to play. This allows you to play in a deeper field. It allows you to open up your consciousness and open up your mind and your heart, because you have to feel this to open up. It allows you to open up to these notions that something has happened to you. Yeah. As long as something has happened to you, you feel hurt. You feel like the object. You feel like the suffering and the pain of that. As long as something has happened to you, we're not here to relieve suffering through philosophical quantum concepts and spiritual bypassing, right? We're not here to do that. We're here to do trauma healing. That's why everything I do is in the caveat of trauma healing and embodiment. But it is important to recognize that when you go through that and you start to experience the choice points that are available in the field, and what I mean by that is when you start to understand your consciousness, the inherent involvement of your own consciousness in all the whole lineage, including all the way down to the immediate first ancestor, right? When you start to realize that all of that is you just have identified with who you think you are in this form, in this material body. That is where your main identification is. When you go beyond that, you start to go, wow, I did all that. I was involved in all that. At some level, I orchestrated all that. So if I orchestrated all that, what can I not orchestrate now for myself? What can I not? If I created all that war on earth, why can I not create peace on earth right now? That level of radical self-accountability comes when we are willing to go into the quantum field of ancestral alchemy and accept that our consciousness is inherently weaved in with the consciousness of our ancestors, and there is no separation. We lived that. We lived that. You will know, because now and again, either in your journey or maybe someone you meet, you will sense that what they're holding is so old. Now it's coming up. It's coming up through the ways that they can recognize, but it's so old, it almost doesn't even belong to them. They are almost like the conscious carrier of it, right? And this is a distinction between, don't get it twisted that, oh, because there's something you don't want to look at and you don't like the way it stinks, then it can't be yours. It must be really old, and you're just the carrier of it. You're just here to, do the work for everyone else, but not for yourself. No, that's bypassing. We're not into that. What we're into is recognizing the subtle vibrational difference between these levels of consciousness. And when you feel, you can start to decipher the difference, right? When you feel, you decipher the difference. Anyway, the point is, accepting oneness is part of this ancestral alchemy, and knowing who your ancestors are and recognizing and reverberating and resonating and feeling it, wherever you land is fine. If you land at, my ancestors are my parents and grandparents and great grandparents in a physical form, great, right? Work with that, because that's what's going to bring you the most insight where you need it. So focus on that, right? If you need to do a piece of work that's coming up for you really strongly, and you will know if it's coming up for you and it's maybe a collective piece, then you're going to have to go into the further ancestral fields, or you're going to have to go into the quantum field, and you're going to have to ask the ugly question, which, trust me, is ugly. I've had to do this myself. I've had to drop into this level. And I can honestly say it was very excruciating for the heart to ask the question of, what have I done without realizing I've done it? What have I orchestrated and co-created without full consciousness? What have I unconsciously created at a collective level? When you start to feel into what you have unconsciously created at a collective level, because your consciousness and the consciousness of your ancestors means that your history and the present moment is actually one and is your radical responsibility. Oh, that hurts, right? Because a lot has happened in our human history. Yeah, a lot has happened, and it's much easier to say that happened to us. That had nothing to do with me. That happened to us many years ago, and now I am different and I'm changing that. But where were you when that was happening? You were there. You were part of that. Your consciousness was part of it. You just don't identify with that layer of your consciousness because you haven't gone there yet. Unfortunately, it's real. And unfortunately, when you do go there, the compassion and the pain and the compassion you can feel for the pain at a collective level is so deep, it literally can free you from generations and generations. I can't even describe. Imagine having a personal trauma release, how big that can be, how heart expanding it can be and how grounding it can be. And then imagine that, but on a collective level through your own heart and body. It's huge, right? If it comes up, we'll do this and we'll do it together and we'll do it safely, right? I did it on my own in a dark room with LSD, not really setting the intention to do that, but being shown that I had to go there anyway. We are not going to do it in a dark room with LSD, you'll be pleased to know. We are going to do this with candlelight, if it comes up, as it's relevant to your healing journey, together in a safe field where we've got absolute clarity and grounding. And remember, you don't have to be out there transmuting collective fields just because now you know that ancestral consciousness is actually unity consciousness. You don't have to, right? That's what another thing I learned from my journey. Yes, you've tasted this, you've experienced this, you've embodied this now, you've developed the capacity to feel at this depth and not be completely overwhelmed and destroyed, and to impart and instead transmute love. But you don't have to do this every day. I could not do that every day, right? This is the work of someone who's got a lot more space to sit and transmute at a collective level every day. No, thank you. So bear in mind the journey of asking the question of who are your ancestors is one that you're going to evolve through this year. And remember, you can come back to this at any time you like. I'm aware there's a lot of information. I talk quite fast. I don't script anything. I just say what needs to come through. So at any point you can rewind, you can take notes, you can reflect back, and be gentle with yourself. That's my final parting words until I see you again in the next module.